In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boys, CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. And tonight, we got a couple OGs in the house. We got Crypto Zombie and CryptoFace. Zombie, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, guys. How have you been? Nice to see you since we had a chance to catch up in person in Miami. That was really fun times, and we had some good times down there. And now I'm on your show. Looking forward to it, and can't wait to debate some crypto.
Heck yeah. Hey, Face, how we doing this evening, brother?
No, we couldn't be doing better. Couldn't be doing better. Been nailing a couple of little decent. I haven't been streaming. 'Cause when I stream and trade, it's a little different. But I've kind of been going heavy, man, the past few days and doing pretty good. So good. I got people coming over tonight for the UFC
for a fight,
and I'm here ready to rumble. I'm ready to rumble.
So you've been the reason why the market's been dumping, huh? I see that you've been going pretty heavy in the past couple of days.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have those powers. Like, well, maybe I do now. You know, back in the day when we were at, sub 15K, I was able to make some things happen with the old Bitcoin. I had a little power, but I probably have some more power again, with the amount of money that's being, that's in the market. So I don't know. We might be able to have some dump Bitcoin 10% streams again.
Admittedly, Face, I have jumped on one of your lives before with my with my Femex open and like paying some close attention. I'll just leave it at that. I'm like, wait a minute, what he's doing? Oh, he's doing up. Yeah, so we've had some fun with that before. So
right on, brother.
So folks, we appreciate all the support. Make sure that you guys subscribe, follow everybody. If you guys don't know Zombie and you don't know CryptoFace, well, then do you even really crypto? That's my question for the evening. Make sure that you guys follow them. Their information is down below the video. Jump into our Discord, jump into our Twitters, do all the socials things, guys. We appreciate it. So tonight, Miguel, what's on the podium, brother?
Dude, we got Bitcoin. What are we going to hit first, 20K or 100K? That's what we're going to talk about tonight, dude.
We're going to have some fun with it. Before we get into it, I just want to do a little update on the market, just where we actually physically are at, and then we will dive right in. Let me pull it up right now. Here we go. So the cryptocurrency market cap is 0.65 trillion with a T. Let me actually update this because it might be even lower. 1.62 trillion with a T, down 2.49%. We got Bitcoin at 35,525. We don't need to go into all of them. Bitcoin is at 35,525. It's down 1.62% today, and we've got down almost 6% on the 7-day. So, Miguel, you said, are we going to 20K or are we going to 100K first?
That's right.
So I'm gonna let Zombie. It's your first time on the show, brother. We again appreciate you being here. I'm gonna let you kick it off. Give us kind of an idea before we dive into the specifics of the actual question. Give us an idea how you come to conclusions in the crypto space, because not everybody, maybe has watched your stream before. Maybe everybody has, but what's kind of the way that you attack the market?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, being in crypto for about 6 years, the way that I really look at it is based on essentially these previous, cycles, previous movements, right? Although recently, 4-year cycle could potentially be broken. So when I first got into crypto, it used to be all altcoins, no Bitcoin. You go through a few cycles, you figure that out real quick. You start increasing your Bitcoin a lot more, right? So really my mentality ultimately is always dollar cost average. I'm the crazy Bitcoin psychopath that they talk about, on the news that, buys at 60K, buys at 20K, buys at 3K, and there's a lot of us out there. So that is my main strategy. I have a HODL position. I never touch it. But, as time went by, especially during the bear market of 2018, I started looking for ways how I could increase my Bitcoin holdings, started getting into trading Bitcoin itself rather than trying to flip the altcoins. I said, hey, let me just focus on this one thing. Let me try to understand Bitcoin. And the thing that was so fascinating to me about Bitcoin was the way that it moves. It doesn't really move the way that, even though now people say, okay, it's correlated to stocks, it is. But, these Bart Simpson patterns and some of these fake outs that you see in Bitcoin, you don't really see them in traditional markets. So I kind of saw it as a challenge. something interesting to learn. And now I just kind of have tried to better my trading, and I share, those insights. I don't give signals on my channel, but I very openly share my opinions, and, you can do what you will with them. And yeah, so for me, it's still, mostly dollar cost averaging. That's the main strategy. I do have a cash position as well. And I like to trade if the setups, come based to me on my opinion. So, I'm not day trading. I mean, I made 2 trades in the past month. That's it.
Okay.
Like I don't go crazy with it, but if I see it and the market comes to me, then I take it. So, but as far as my strategy goes, it's all different kinds of strategies, bro. It just depends on the day, depends on what's going on,
Yeah, for
He
sure.
spins
And
the
then
Wheel of Fortune. I've seen it. He spins the Wheel of Fortune.
That's what I do.
he just walks up and spins the
I do.
wheel. Like, what are we doing today?
I mean, look, it's either going up or down, right? So you figure it's a good
That's right.
sporting chance, right?
That's right. And then Face, I think you kind of have a totally different outlook on how you do things. Explain to the audience how you approach the market, how you attack the market, kind of what your strategy looks like.
Well, yeah, I kind of, I guess, one of my sayings I came up with is, there's technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and then what I call money analysis, which is really just, trying to follow the actual dollars and cents, follow the money, as they say. And, that's kind of what basically has guided me since pretty much day one. And, I try not to, be emotionally attached. I love what I do, but I'm not in love with money or some, shit token that someone made in their basement with incubators. You know what I'm saying?
So do you
And-
not have anything that you hodl? You don't hodl anything. You just strictly trade.
No, when I try to hodl, it always fails. I do have
Your
some
patience
Bitcoin.
hold on, your patience fails you or it fails you.
No, I have a hard time holding on to something that I firmly believe is going down in value.
Gotcha.
Now that being said, I do have what I hold with Bitcoin and Ethereum is not that much compared to like I like to be an octopus, man. I'm big in being diversified into what I believe is common sense going in the future. Just this past week, I really sat down for a good few days and really pencil neck through my allocations and all my investments. And to be honest, I went heavier into commodities, heavier into natural gas, heavier into oil, heavier into commodity ETFs. And man, the market took another dump this week. And when I looked at my portfolio, I was up 5% when the market was down 1,000 basis points. And I was like, so let me check this out. Shorted Netflix. I shorted Netflix later than I wanted to get in. My natural gas going up, oil going up. And I think right now we're in like some consolidation points, and it's going to be volatile and dangerous. But I'm just trying to spread like a squid. I'm spreading like a squid.
Face was the smart one because I was hearing about potential looming recession and supply shortages, so I went down to the store and started getting my stuff from my prepping downstairs, and I started buying like food and non-perishables. And meanwhile, this guy's like, well, instead of running out, I'm just gonna long it. Like it's brilliant, man. I should have connected the two.
I'm gonna eat my money when I'm starving. You know what I'm saying? But at least, like if I have a wound, I'm just gonna patch some Benjamins on it and hope. No, I'm totally into prepping too. Totally into prepping. And so yeah, man, Campbell's chunky soup.
Yeah, man, you gotta be ready for anything.
It's very salty, so you got to make sure you got water if you want. Not something you got to look up for prep. If you're a prepper, you got to make sure there's not too much sodium in that shit.
Yeah,
that's right. Who was it, Miguel? We were talking about the other day. Bear. What's his name? Bear Independent. Bear Independent. He talks about rice and beans is his actual form of currency. Yeah. Period. End of discussion at this point. I think personally, you know where we roll. We've got Danger Close Alpha, so we are trying to bring the communities together, the prepping community, the survivalist community with the crypto community. But for me, the just beans and rice might be taking it a little farther than I personally, think. But at the end of the day,
go on my YouTube, my Twitter. I've been saying beans and rice for since I came out of the womb. Since I came out of my mother's womb, beans and rice was my thing. So beans and rice, man. Beans and
All right,
rice
so
for
before
sure.
before we get into it, I want to shout out Meta Money, Tom Crown in the chat. Appreciate you guys showing up. You guys are legends.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, man. So Bitcoin, 20K, 100K. Where do we see it going first, and why? Zombie, take it away.
All right, I'm going first. Let me see if I can share the screen here.
Yeah.
With you guys, if that's cool. I've never really done this, so hopefully this works. Let's go. So share screen. You guys seeing what I'm seeing? Are you seeing me, seeing you, seeing us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Just go ahead and go ahead and pull up the actual. There we go.
There we go. So essentially right here, this is what we're going to talk about. Now, by the way, Face, as you can see, I have Market Cipher. I do use Market Cipher. I do like the strategy, but I got a little old fashioned in me too, right? So ultimately right here, if you have a look, this is what I talked about just this morning. So short term right here, you can see we are falling. We've fallen out of this pattern. And obviously, this could arguably be a giant bear flag, right? Which the target, I won't even tell you guys right now because it would be very depressing to discuss. However, I will take the opposing view of what a lot of bears are saying right now about why we're not going to go below 20K. So if I just pull this up right here, first of all, guys, you could see that this is a long-term trend that you could see has started way back here. I actually have two different trend lines. So if you take the top of this 20, the 20K that we had back in 2017, draw a line out here, you could see that we've had some support, and it's also coincided with the top of this previous sort of like that mid fake out rally that we had back here in June of 2019, and we follow that out, and you could see we had that perfect support. So zooming in right here, you can see that we are being supported by this first trend. And, I'm just saying textbook here, we are technically still in an uptrend right here. We haven't actually broken the uptrend. We haven't actually put in a lower low yet on the macro. Now, this is on the weekly. Of course, it is possible. It is possible that we see something like that, right? So this is the main thing that I want to talk about. And then, obviously, Face, I'd love for you to, dive in and, whatever, tell me I'm wrong, tell me we're going to zero. But, this is what we just talked about on the channel today. So basically, obviously this is the 200, weekly moving average. Now, Bitcoin has never fallen below this average ever in its history. Of course, yes, we've had a few wicks below it, as you saw down here, back in 2014. And you can see right here, we did wick below it as well. We even technically closed below it. However, this was COVID right here. And I do beg to differ that had we not had that black swan event, we might have just kind of danced around this consolidation period right here. So I do consider this to be a black swan event, but nevertheless, we still maintained above it. And currently, just right now, just by the data, that level is sitting at 21,736 as I'm making this video right now on the weekly. So that right there alone should signal that we're not going down to 20K. That's it, guys. That's my argument. No, I'm totally kidding. That's not my argument. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
It would be
that's an awesome argument.
That's all
I was about to say,
about.
dude, honestly, I know you were kidding and you have more that you wanted to share, but that's a very simplified version that would absolutely be definitely a valid argument for sure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. And honestly, I tried to really bring the simple charts today. I mean, I draw lines all over my chart. I literally draw drawings and scribbles and people. But just for today, we're keeping it nice and simple. So I'm actually just going to get rid of this right now, this moving average, because we don't really need it for the rest of what we're talking about. Yeah. So basically right here, what you guys could see is the previous cycle highs. Now, this guy back here, little bit of an interesting scenario. We'll get to that in a second if you really want to discuss it. This was a very awkward time for Bitcoin. We could talk about that. But ultimately following, if we're just looking at the traditional 4-year cycles, which I do believe are broken, if we look at these all-time highs, you can literally see, here we are right here, and you could see price never came down to this level, right? This is just very simple analysis. Same thing here. We took the high right here. Bitcoin was, around 1150 or something like that. We came down even at the bottom right here, 2018, we never came down to that level, right? So arguably you would think that we shouldn't come down to that level again. If we were to come down to that level, you're looking at how much of a pullback would that be? Currently that would be about a 60%. And some of these guys say, oh, we got to go down to 85. So you're coming down to 85 or something crazy like that. I mean, look how far down that brings us, guys. That brings us to what, a $10,000 Bitcoin? So we'll get into why that probably won't happen on top of that. Another thing that you can look at just historically. Now, obviously, guys, I'm not trying to take the bullish or bearish side. I'm just showing you the charts. This is why I'm defending that I think we see 100K before 20K. If we actually come back here and we draw Fibonacci retracements, right? So we take the high right here, we come all the way down to the lows that we had on the first cycle, and we extend this out. And I'm doing this pretty rough, but I think, a 5-year-old could see this, right? If we zoom in right here, what do we see? We actually see that during this sort of mid-cycle, whatever you want to call it, correction, we came down here, and what did we do? We tested this blue area, the 1.618, and then we bounced and continued upwards, and we never went below that again, right? So keep your mind on that blue zone. Now, if we come to the highs that we had the peak here, where Bitcoin hit the 1100, whatever it was, you know, it depends on what exchange you look at. I'm using BLX just because I personally think it has the most accurate and longest data. So we come down here, you know, we stretch this out, right? Stretching this all the way out, same way that we did down here. And then we go to this blow off, right? But what did we see on the way up? Okay, so Bitcoin had this mid-cycle sort of correction right here. Where did it come? Exactly to the 1.618. Never again did we ever come down to those levels, and never again did we ever go below the previous all-time high. So let's take it a step further. Where are we today? Do the exact same thing. Draw it from the top right here, pull it down to the bottom, extend it out. And what have we done? So essentially, you could see there were a couple wicks, a little bit of fake outs down here, not going to lie. But ultimately, we had no candle closes right here. We actually had 2 touches. So you could argue that this was the first time it ever did happen in Bitcoin's history. So I'm not saying things couldn't happen that haven't happened before. Just saying, ultimately, again, what did we do? We retest the 1.618 again, and we bounce off. We're putting in higher lows, and we still haven't come down to the 1.618. And we certainly haven't come down to the $20,000 level yet. So that is essentially just the main argument right there, the main sort of data. We have more we can go into, unless you want to turn it over to Face, and then I'll
let's
save some more. It's up to you guys.
Save some ammo. He says, Face. So we've seen kind of where Zombie's brain is at right now. He's looking at looking at Fibonacci's, and he's looking at just sheer history. I remember what you said. You don't need to repeat it. I remember what you said last week or a couple weeks ago to Miguel when he started talking about history, that it, you know, things can happen, right? But what's kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, so a couple things. I'm sharing my screen right now. Can I get a 10-4 on?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
it looks like we got it pulled up here.
Copy.
So first thing I'm going to say, first off, Zombie's a great guy. I watch him all the time. He's a good friend. And before Michael Saylor, there was Crypto Zombie. He was considered the golden
100%,
goose,
dude.
by the way, the golden goose. Okay.
Am I frozen on your end, guys? I'm frozen on my end.
No,
Nope,
you're good.
Oh, great. All right. Well, if I'm good on your end, I'll just trust it. All right, let's go.
So, couple things I wanted to, as Zombie touched on, for example, like the COVID dump, as far as the black swan, was a black swan. You could say it was a black swan. But as of today, with so many factors, I think there are many black swan that are flying in the air, from the politics, the money printing, that we are going through things that we have never gone through before. We have never, ever printed this much money ever before. The market's never been propped up like this. The house of cards is never been this high and fragile. So I guess what I'm going to open up here, we are looking at the internet boom. I'm going there. And, you know, a couple similar things I kind of just want to actually point out here. So this is the NASDAQ during the internet boom in 2000. The internet was the last most important thing, you know, greatest invention, whatever you want to call it. Basically, you could argue since crypto. I don't think anyone really argued that, the printing press. And we had the boom. A lot of crap companies came out, retraced 80%. Now, I do want to, I did notice something just now. If we measure the top of the internet boom from 2000 to its top today, you get 240%. If you actually went to Bitcoin, its previous top in 2017, go to here, bam, it's pretty much the same damn thing.
Now,
Now,
what pattern is that? The Wizard of Oz pattern?
Those are the 3 amigos, bro. You don't know them?
yeah. So, the you know, tech crash, internet crash went down like 85%. So yes, if we did go back down, I actually believe we are Bitcoin. They say, you know, people say we got the history, has never gone down to a previous high from a previous low, from swing dick. Okay. But with the inflation of money and the amount of black swan in the air, even if we just wick down to the brim of that 84% and touch it one time, that is 10K. It's 10K. And we are closer than expected. Yes, we held the 29,000 when we went to 30,000, but the money has been leaving. You know, having market cipher here, the money flow's been coming down. We are just peaking, getting to our side. The strength looks absolutely terrible. So if there is a miracle, I would hope that this is the bottom at 35K. I am a crypto guy too, and I want us all to make as much money as possible, but we got a long way to go. And the truth is our cars don't run off Bitcoin. We don't eat Bitcoin. We shit coin, but that's about it. And that's all I have to say.
So quick question, CryptoFace. Do you think that Bitcoin is manipulated?
Well,
like is the price manipulated through some, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them? Who is it manipulated?
We haven't seen nothing yet. There's not even enough money in it. Bitcoin, everything's manipulated. I have manipulated Bitcoin. There's only 2 trillion. It's only a $2 trillion market cap. That's nothing. Okay. I don't think real players have gotten into. You want to know what's manipulated? Is gold, simply because the top 3 banks own 70% of the paper shorts, which means they have to. When there was lines in Vietnam of you could not buy gold online anywhere, yet the price is stuck at 2,000. I don't even know if that's manipulate. That is above manipulation.
Completely agree.
There's like manipulation is a very vague term.
Just the price. Do you think the price is being pushed up and down in certain directions by a certain group of people for a certain agenda?
Well, yeah, that's everything is, dude.
So my question is,
ourselves. We've
the
done
question
it ourselves, and so yeah. But is there one controlling group that's saying we're going to make the price this today and that tomorrow? I'm sure there's a few that are fighting for it, but
So what I'm getting at is,
I don't know, man.
What I'm trying to get at is, if Bitcoin is manipulated,
if the ETF stuff gets going through and the big boys come in, then you're talking about some real shit. So eventually I could wind up like gold and that type of thing. But listen, the tech boom I can't see is no different than Bitcoin. It's the same shit. There's a million coins. There's a million companies. Most of them are BS. The overall technology is terrific and great. But it doesn't take much.
I've heard a lot of people talking about these flush outs.
If someone wants to come in, give me 1 second. I'll let you.
Yeah, no, sure.
I just want to make one more point. If some real institutional conglomerate, if BlackRock or whoever wants to come in with leverage, they could squash it to nothing. So I don't think we've seen nothing yet when it comes to manipulation with Bitcoin.
So real quick, and then you can take it away, Zombie. If Bitcoin is manipulated, whether it's a group or a group of groups, right, whatever you want to call it, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor has set himself up in a position that if Bitcoin drops below 21, margin calls are going to come knocking on the door, right? Senators and certain people in banks around the world have set themselves up in a pro-Bitcoin situation where if Bitcoin were to do that kind of type of crash, it's going to pretty much destroy the reputation of Bitcoin as anything financially stable or as a decent enough investment for these people, and it kind of will shatter that situation for people. Yeah, that thesis, whatever you want to call it. So I don't believe that they would set themselves up in that position. MicroStrategy, these senators and these people around the world that are in the banks in a pro-Bitcoin position if they know what's coming with Bitcoin going down to 10K or lower.
These guys aren't that smart, though. They're not that smart. Like, to be honest, I think the Michael Saylors and stuff, I don't think they've done enough research. If I was Michael Saylor, I would damn sure want to make sure, and I don't care what anybody says in the chat, that Craig Wright don't got those keys. Because if he does and he squats it to $100, yeah, I hope you really believe in the fucking technology of Bitcoin, because that's
let me interject here real quick. I would say that I don't know that I see the price going down to 10K or maybe even 20. I see it going into the 20s, but I want to say I'm kind of on CryptoFace side of things with this, and I'll tell you why. I see, and I talk about this a lot on the channel. I've talked about this a lot with Miguel. We kind of go back and forth on this. I see so many macro factors. I see so many different, like Face was calling them, these so many black swan things happening, where I feel like we're at kind of a point where it's not going to take much more to push it over the edge. And I don't think that it will be for a long time. I think that the dump will be fast. I think it will be hard. And I think if the 370 people that are in the chat don't take advantage when this dump does happen, I think you're freaking crazy. We're not giving financial advice here, but the reality is we're at a turning point. And when something happens, and I'm not saying if, I'm saying when, because something will happen. I think the dump will be hard. I think it will be fast, but I think we're going to recover fast too. So how actually low we go, how fast we get there, I think it'll be a quick recovery. But I do see, the reality of some lower prices. What are you thinking, Zombie? And I see the gears turning in your brain.
No, I'm just listening, guys. I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm enjoying actually hearing other people talk for a change. I listen to myself all day. I agree with you, but there's not enough time on this live stream to go over everything. I mean, I just presented the data, right? But as you guys know, obviously things are different right now. We've never seen Bitcoin in a recession, right? Bitcoin came out of the recession of 2008. So right. Bitcoin has never really ever had to deal with a true recession, with these black swan events that you guys are, talking about. COVID, I believe, was a real black swan event. Nobody saw it coming. I think this whole, Fed being hawkish, fighting inflation, raising the rates, that's not a black swan event to me anymore because we're pricing it in. The war is a potential that people know about. These food shortages, they haven't happened yet. Maybe the general public doesn't know, but there's a lot of people that are factoring this in. And that's, to be honest, why I think we've seen the price actually fall down. So, a real black swan event, I couldn't tell you what it is. That's what makes it a black swan event. You know what I'm saying? But I do think there's a lot going on behind the scenes as well. We were looking for this blow off top. We didn't have a blow off top. So was it over the counter? Did we have a lot of guys starting to offload their positions and then, going over to the spot exchanges and crashing it? Yes. What did we see in 2017? We saw them literally release the CME futures almost exactly to the day of the all-time high so that they had the opportunity to short it. Now, getting back on the conspiracy manipulation, hey, maybe that's what they're waiting for. Maybe they want to suppress the price. Maybe they want people to capitulate, give up, throw in the towel, walk away, and then boom, spot ETF and all their friends do get to buy at 15,000 if it does go that low, right? Or something like that. Who knows what their real plans are? But I will tell you, and I will agree with CryptoFace, that once you do get something like a spot ETF, you're going to get that old money coming in. And once you do get the approval from those guys over in the UAE, you get the sovereign wealth funds coming in and you're talking billions and billions and billions. Kathy Wood, she hasn't done too great lately, obviously, but she had estimated the institutions of just 5% could bring it to 500K. Kevin O'Leary saying a $400,000 increase with these guys over in the UAE, sovereign funds holding it, and even some of the most bearish of the bears that I've talked to, like unless you're just a straight up, I hate Bitcoin, I don't like Bitcoin, I'll never like Bitcoin, like a Peter Schiff guy, almost all of them say it could get rocky, it could get rough, but this is the long game. Guys like Garrett Soloway, he's calling for a potential $3,000 Bitcoin, but yet still thinks that it's going to 500,000, $1 million in our lifetime. So if you have, that ability, because most people can't trade. If you have that ability to hold dollar cost average, go, sit through the hard times or screw it, sit on cash and maybe you get lucky. I do think that at the end of the day, Bitcoin is still going to be the better play. And getting
Garrett's
back
about to be on this next week.
About the .com. I just want to talk about the .com crash.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
So, in 2017, how many altcoins did we have then? Bitcoin fell 85%. And I remember everybody went Bitcoin maxi. Everybody. We're only doing Bitcoin, right? What happened again? Well, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu. Yep. I don't think you're ever going to change that human psychology. I think shit coins are just going to exist. And this flush out that everybody's talking about, I think it's cyclical. I think at the end of the day, more people, they're going to go through it. They're going to come into Bitcoin. They're going to forget about the shit coins. But nevertheless, you're always going to have the new cycle. The people that buy at the top feel they missed out. Bitcoin's too high. I don't have $100,000 to buy $100,000 Bitcoin. So I'm going to buy a doggy token that's 0.00001%. Human psychology, fear and greed, I don't think ever changes. So
yeah, dude, I completely agree with that. We've said it on here before with CVO that this time around in this cycle, every time we've dropped, everybody's like bear market. This is it. It's over. It's the bear market. It's the bear market. And people have just been so focused on that and have been distracted. We've also mentioned being distracted. NFTs have blown up this cycle. DeFi has blown up in this cycle, which distracts people from Bitcoin. But when everything comes crashing down, like
where do they run?
People come running to Bitcoin.
And one of the biggest problems is the degens that actually stay in the space
Yep.
Like Face said, he's looking at the money flow. We're not seeing the money. I mean, we're not seeing it as far as spot is concerned. We can't see OTC. None of us can. We don't know what they're doing unless you're an insider. But, you know, ultimately what's happening right now is you're seeing these people that maybe they are down. They're still in the space. And what are they doing? They're recycling the money. It's just the same money just getting recycled around and around and around in the space. Yep. And that's actually sucking that liquidity, sucking that price, potential positive price action out of Bitcoin into these other altcoins. So I do agree that we are due for a flush out. We've kind of already seen it. I mean, a lot of these altcoins are down. Some of them are down 90+%, you know, I mean, so not even, and I'm not like against XRP or anything like that, but there's like a huge army of people. And I mean, look at XRP. XRP was like one of the only coins in the top that didn't put in a new high this cycle. So, and I'm not bashing on it. I'm just saying like, that's a data. Just look at the data.
I believe that we're just at like the beginning point, like the money stopped printing. We're starting to see the wheels fall up. Netflix, is it Netflix that's like already down 75%?
Dude,
they're
already
35%. They're taking them out of the
FANG.
the FANG. They're starting to create new ANG stock words because it ain't it, man.
I heard a joke about it, but I'm not going to say it on the channel.
Dude, so like with I got lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Nick, take it away.
You're good. So okay, we're looking at the two different sides of this, and we've got some incredibly low numbers that we're hearing. By the way, Gareth is going to be on Thursday night for TA Thursday this coming week. I have not. He's been on here a couple times. I haven't heard the 3K yet, Zombie.
Yeah, he did.
I'm going to press him on that.
He said it. He has like a percentage, like where he'll be like, there's like a 90% chance we go here. He's saying there's only like a 10 to 15% chance, but he's still considering it.
He's right, because it can go back. And there's always that chance it goes back to that previous low.
But Crypto Face, can I ask you something real quick?
We're not even talking about black swan. We're talking about black skies with the shit that's going on, like black skies.
Apocalyptic.
But everybody says that. Do you guys, if you look at history, look at all the decades in history, there's always this ultimate devastating zombie apocalypse thing that's going to destroy the world, and yet we're still here. And it's fine. We'll figure it out. We're people. We may be smart,
Bitcoin.
but I mean,
I always say Bitcoin works perfectly fine at $5. I can send Bitcoin to Mexico when it's worth $5, just fine.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
So yeah, my answer is.
Well, people don't like it at $5,
but
like
not saying that doesn't. I'm not saying that.
But Face, let me ask you something, and maybe this is something I don't understand. Maybe I'm totally ignorant. Please correct me and let me know what I'm saying wrong. But all of the people, I mean, I had more charts. Screw my charts. We don't have to pull them up. So if you look at this just simple chart of HODL waves, right? And you're just looking at holders. Now, I'm not talking about coins that are lost. I'm not talking about Satoshi. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just people that are HODLing. So forget the 10-year, forget the 7-year. We won't even talk about that. Talking about 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, you are seeing massive HODLing. People are holding this. And not only are they holding, because I know what you're going to say, oh, if you're holding, how's that going to change the price? They are dollar cost averaging. There are crazy Bitcoin psychopaths like myself who will continue to buy even if we go to 3K. So, which I don't see how that's possible. So my question to you is, if it was manipulated, if MicroStrategy gets margin called, if the worst happens, how the hell can you actually have Bitcoin going down to those levels? You can use leverage, but I'm talking about spot. Who is going to sell their Bitcoin? Because I know there's a lot of us that have been around way before this new wave of people that are not going to sell. I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin for 10,000. Screw you.
Yeah, you don't.
I'll go down with the ship like the captain. And there are a lot of us out there. A lot of us.
They don't.
So my question is, when we have the liquidity crisis and there's no one left to buy from,
what then?
You know what I'm saying? What then?
You don't have to, though. And this is why Zombie's my friend, because he already knew what I was going to say. But it's in fact, if you HODL, you can HODL and die, because the HODLers don't control the price. If they're buying, then they can help. But if you're HODLing your last bag and you're like,
but the HODLers do buy.
They don't control.
That's my point.
Price. People like me control the price. I control the price if I want to dump that shit. And I'm just saying, I'm just joking. I'm being sarcastic, but Chinese control.
You said you don't even have a lot of Bitcoin. How are you going to dump it if you have no Bitcoin to sell? You can't move the price with derivatives.
We can all have 1 million Bitcoin, but if we're holding it on our ledger in Chinese Shuang is the one on the exchange, and boop, dump it, and there ain't no one buying the exchange, our 1 million Bitcoin can be a penny. It don't matter how much we have.
The only thing I will agree with, you that I've heard a lot of people very bullish on the fact that there's been a lot of exchange outflows. But I do have to take the devil advocate side here and just say that also makes the order book thinner.
Yeah,
which makes it right,
I mean,
which makes it more volatile too. It can move
So
faster.
I don't really like that argument. I will take your side on that.
And buy, yes, but the hodlers do not dictate the price. It's the schwang.
It's the schwang. Well, okay. So
can I share my screen for just like 5 seconds? 5 seconds. I just want to show you guys one thing.
You're good. You can
just 5 seconds, and then we'll go right back.
5 minutes if you need it, dude. Whatever.
I don't need 5 minutes. I don't know the way that I ramble on. Let's see. You guys can see me again here.
Yep.
All right. So right here, guys, this is, and by the way, shout out to Colin Talks for putting this together. So this is a mixture of things, okay? All different types of things. Pi cycle top indicator. For example, Bitcoin search term. No one's really searching for Bitcoin. Most people know who it is. So this is and you can uncheck these boxes, right? You see how the parameters change. So if you look at all of the previous cycles, even this little mini cycle that most people don't even consider to actually be, a true bull into bear, they consider this a mid-cycle correction. Maybe you have a difference of opinion. Look at how high these get on here. You're talking about these levels up here about 92. Keep in mind, this is just a simple aggregate where we just take all the data and we just add it on this chart, right? Look at this 2017. We're literally up here at around 100. Okay. And you can see when we get down to these levels, obviously it's good to buy. If we zoom in right here, guys, look at, we didn't even breach 80 on the CBBI confidence that we hit the top right here. And on the second peak right here, we only hit 61. So if this is the top and this was the end of the cycle and we are going all the way down to Goblin Town, then this was honestly one of the poorest performance that Bitcoin has ever seen. So if this is the big blow off, this is the big end of the rally, well, that was a really pathetic end to the run because look at these that we had back here if you actually compare. And I'm not talking about diminishing returns. I'm actually just simply...
I think it's all the printing and the fake propping up. Like we've been so fake propped up. We are the ultimate leaning tower of Pisa. And
yeah, bro, but the only people that are trying to tackle it right now are the US. The DXY is rising, but why? It's because they keep printing over in the UK. They keep printing over in Asia. They're not stopping what they're doing. Do you think we're all going to come to a general consensus and say, okay, let's just stop when every single fiat country is built off of debt? If you don't have debt, fiat doesn't work. It fails. That's what it's designed to do. Even Powell came out himself and said, look, we're going to raise, 0.5 or excuse me, 50 basis points. But he even said, if it looks like a recession's coming, he was like, we're going to back down. And what does the Fed do every single time? What do? They talk a lot of shit. And then what do? They back down when things start. Because you think Powell wants to go out? You think he wants to go down in history after being, nominated again for the second time with this on his shoulders? No, man. And I'm not saying that there's not a black swan event. I do believe that shit is going to hit the fan. Something's going to happen.
But I
think the US's ego is way too big at this point. It's way too big.
Yeah. We're on a sinking ship right now. And so that we're at a point where with our economy where we either start to print again, which ultimately prints us into oblivion, which pushes us into just hyperinflation, which we lose. Or we start hiking rates up so high that it pushes us up into an all-out recession depression. The problem there is stagflation. That's exactly where it's headed. So what it does is it tells people, for those of you that don't understand how this works, what it's going to tell people is that, hey, your dollar is worth more 10 months from now than it is right now. I'm just using a little bit farther out, a year from now than it is now. So if you could buy something, if you can just wait and buy something, then your dollar is going to be worth more. So people will say, well, heck, why am I going to go ahead and buy something today when I could buy it 10 months from now? So they start sitting on things and they start getting that saving mentality. Well, guess what? Just if you go back to the American dream, which was created by the banks, right? Buying a home, you've probably heard this before, that was the banks. The banks needed something to lend you. They can't just lend money on nothing, right? And so that's what's happening here. And if we get to a point where people are saying, well, heck with that, I'm just going to sit here and save, then what happens? The economy comes to a grinding halt. The dollar has already been printed so freaking high up anyway. We already have those problems in motion. So where do we go?
Because that's what I'm thinking. By the way, when Zombie was talking, I don't think you can hear me because I know you had an echo. So I think you turned the volume down when you're talking, right?
Yeah, my bad, bro. I'm having a really bad audio connection here. So if I'm like ignoring you, I'm not doing it
purposely. Yeah, no, I know you're not. I just wanted to let the audience know that like you weren't ignoring me. I was
no, I didn't even hear you, bro.
We were having a good time. But what I was saying was when you were talking was the dollar is so we are seeing all kinds of pairs decouple right now. Everyone who's been following the Dixie What the dollar saying, oh, the dollar's going up, Bitcoin going down, the dollar going down, Bitcoin going up, are now getting raveled this past week because everything's starting to decouple. The dollar went up, the Dixie went up because the sell-off started to come. So when more people go into the dollar value goes up. That's why the dollar is going up. Now, when people like when you, me, we have the feeling of, oh shit, I'm gonna actually start holding cash sounds better than putting it into whatever. That's the first sign, bro.
That's
and
a problem.
What I'm feeling. And if we're feeling it, everyone else is feeling it too. And we're already seeing the first steps. We're already getting the first sniff. And the first sniffs have already been pretty fucking bad. And we ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, it seems pretty desperate when you have the IMF basically bribing a country for $46 billion to not adopt crypto.
That's
just
a
gonna
fact.
say, like, sounds pretty desperate on their part.
I think that, you know, if you read the Bitcoin Standard, you read about all these currencies in the past eventually all failing, and there being a transfer of wealth from one currency as you adopt the new currency. I think Bitcoin is set up in a way that the reset is happening, right? We're going through that money transfer right now of wealth, and the dollar is on its last legs. And whether the governments want to admit it or not, the elites want to admit it or not, they understand it and they know it's coming.
What do you mean the dollar's on its last legs? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? The debt that's being created on the dollar, the situations that are happening with the dollar cannot go on forever.
That doesn't mean the dollar's on its last legs. If anything, that actually strengthens the dollar. That if it's in debt, they won't want the dollar to crash. The Chinese want the dollar to be up. That's why the Chinese push their currency down and want the dollar value up, because the more debt we have, the more dollars that we owe other countries. They want that shit to be high. They don't want, like, for example, Trump wanted to push the dollar down like the Chinese kept fucking doing to us. And so the higher dollar value, the more debt we have, the worse it is for us. I actually think us being in a lot of fucking debt is actually kind of like a safety net for the dollar. Just a kind of a theory.
It also would be a first in history, considering that most fiat currencies have about a life expectancy of 300 years. You figure 1776, we officially, signed that constitution. I mean, we're getting close. So I mean,
exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Maybe it is a different time, but historically speaking, again, based on the history of money, it doesn't usually end well.
I don't think the dollar can last forever. There will be a new transfer of whether into the crypto, whether Bitcoin is number one and CBDCs exist, they all coexist along with Bitcoin. But I think fiat, the way it is and the way the money is being handled worldwide, that's going to have a shift, and it can't continue the way it is forever.
The other thing too is, what do you turn to then? I watched Benjamin Cohen, and he was talking about there is no alternative. Tina referring to basically the stocks, right? Like, where else do you go? So real estate is up right now. A lot of people say it's in a bubble. Some people think it'll keep going up. I don't know the answer to that. But so then, guys like, for example, CryptoFace, right? You do trade, you're longing commodities, maybe you're shorting Bitcoin, right? The average person who's getting, living paycheck to paycheck and watching their money get slowly debased over time, which inevitably, even if they do get the US inflation under control, Powell himself with his own lips has admitted that 2% is the goal. They don't want to go zero. They don't want to go negative. They still want inflation. So it's inevitable either way. The ultimate outcome is, okay, all we can do is we can slow it down. But we know it doesn't work without that inflation. So where does the average person go? You can't go to stocks. You can't, what do you do? Most of these guys are down hyperinflation, 90%. Look what they did with the peso and all these other things. So where do you go right now? And to me, it's hard because you don't get emotionally invested in Bitcoin. And that may be my downfall. I am a little emotionally invested in it, but it's because for me, out of everything I've seen in my 35 years on this planet, I've never seen anything that gives people true property ownership, and I don't know, for me, if Bitcoin failed, it would be a really sad time. It would really totally be the ultimate.
I totally agree. The ability to send money to anyone, and we both agree on that. So just because I think shit's hitting the fan for the next year, however long, doesn't mean I don't believe in Bitcoin and stuff like that. But so, dude, but you know what you said that totally just rung a bell in my head with the stocks, which is exactly was what I was saying with crypto. Everyone in middle America, lower America, even higher America, or not just America, the world, when they have their 401ks and IRAs, what they are is hodling long on the market. If you work for some Fortune 2000 company and you have your stock investment shit, it is not short on the market. All those people's pensions and shit are all longs. And those are the people that bad crypto faces take advantage of and shit on, because someone has to hold the bag. And that's what fucking is going on in crypto with the holders down to 3K. Someone has to hold the bag, because if they're not, then there's no bag.
They are putting Bitcoin into 401ks now.
Yeah, and that's going to get shit on, just like everything else.
Yeah, by the IMF, right?
And it'll go up again. They're
going to bribe us again.
But it's going to get shit on, just like the markets and everything else. Everyone's long on the market. So if you're listening to the stream and call up your fucking advisor, I'm not an advisor, but say, hey, bro, shit's hitting the fan. Did you just put everything in fucking Facebook that I gave you a year ago? Because if you did, sell some of it at a loss.
You're fired.
Short that shit.
That's right. So Berkshire Hathaway just had, I did a video about this yesterday or the day before, and Berkshire Hathaway just had their annual meeting. And let's be fair, these men are in their 80s at this point, but for the last almost 60 years, I think it's been since 1967. So coming up on 60 years, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have been some of the most successful individuals as it relates to investments. Okay. 2008, they said they made more money than they had ever made in their entire lives, right? What are they doing right now? Okay. Now, I will say this. The one reason I do not give them credibility to the fullest extent is because they said the most idiotic thing I've ever heard, and said, I wouldn't buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25, which obviously I'm sure is an exaggeration, but they just don't understand it. But let me take that and throw that out the window. What are they doing yeah, exactly. What are they doing traditionally? They are loading up on cash and staying cash heavy right now for two reasons. One of the reasons is for opportunity. And this is kind of what they did in 2008. They were waiting for the opportunity to snatch up when the market does crash. If the real estate market crashes for whatever, or if that happens, guess what? Somebody needs to be there, or somebody is going to be there to buy that up. They're buying effectively the dip, just like when Bitcoin hits the bottom, right? So that's what they're kind of waiting for. Here's my concern. I'm going to spin this just a little bit into, we have our NFT project, which is Danger Close Alpha, and we are talking about just preparing people, right? It is literally saying, hey, the survival community, the prepper community, doesn't mean that you have to build a bunker in your backyard. It means you have to be realistic with the fact that you can't just be 100% crypto. You can't just be 100% cash. You can't just be 100% gold. You can't just be 100% beans and rice. Like, you have to diversify there. And there's things that you do that are responsible for you to take care of your family. And we're at a point right now where we are looking at food shortages. We are looking at possible wars. We are looking at political unrest. We are looking at all of these. We are looking at pandemic. We are looking at so many different things, money printing out of this world. And if you can't look at that and say, hey, you know what? I might want to do something about this. I might want to at least position myself to get ready, right?
Yeah, and I do believe crypto absolutely, it should be, hopefully is, and probably will be a shining star. But, you know, just like when the Fed announcement comes, everything like dumps real quick, right? It all goes together, and then they'll go their separate paths. So, you know,
yes. Well, that's the problem. We wanted the institutions in. Now they're in, and they're
going to play games with
everything else. So it's like we're rooting for the institutions. They're here,
but they're not really in, bro. Like we are starting. We're kind of driving in some of the same lanes. But I cannot agree that the institutions are in crypto yet.
When we see a spot ETF
making their own shit coins, but as far as like I've said before, BlackRock is themselves. They control $10 trillion of assets. Just one. Those assets.
Five times crypto's market cap.
Yeah, or Bitcoins or whatever
right now. Yeah,
and there's so many of them out there. There's so much money. I don't think institutions are in yet at all. This is Kevin O'Leary. I'm just quoting Kevin O'Leary.
None of us are financial advisors.
Smart. I don't go through those calculations. I'm just saying what other people have said. But the institutions are not in yet. When they do get in, we're hoping after the shit show that our next run up to the 100,000s and millions will be because of the institutions.
So that's a great segue, right? We've been talking about the doom and gloom. We've been talking about going down to oblivion. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin, right? when the shit show happens, when the kaboom happens, right? After that, what do you guys honestly believe is going to recover faster?
We got to pick the
stock
fucking
market
right.
or Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Pick the ponies right. It might not be Bitcoin. It might not be Ethereum. It could be a shit token we've never heard of.
No. He's saying what's going to recover faster, the stock market or crypto? Yeah. And I say crypto. It
crypto.
Has to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
go ahead.
For some reason, I was going to
go ahead, zombie.
Yeah, no, because like I can't hear you again. I don't want to. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the correlation between Bitcoin and something like the NASDAQ or stocks, they are correlated. There's no way around that. I'm sorry, like it's just a fact. You can see it on the chart. Usually what you see is when you see times of sideways uncertainty, that's when crypto goes down. When stocks go down, crypto goes down harder. But when stocks start to recover, there's no question about it. I mean, Bitcoin will 10x the stocks, every single time, all day, every day. And, not to get back on the doom and gloom, but, at the end of the day, people go, oh, well, what are you going to do if the internet goes out and there's a nuclear war? You're right. Then I probably won't care about Bitcoin. I'll probably care about guns, ammo, food, water, shelter, things like that. Maybe some 100%. Liquor. I can trade that. You
got more to worry about. You got more to worry about. You're not going to have access to anything.
This is crazy. Okay. But, at the end of the day, like my grandma used to always tell me, this too shall pass. And all the terrible, horrible things that have happened in history, the genocides, World War II, I don't have to name all these terrible things that have happened. We as people, maybe we didn't do it perfectly. Maybe we didn't do it the way we should have, but we have always found a way to recover. And I do believe that ultimately, when you look at the globe, we have to get out of this Western mindset. We're very privileged over here. We have a lot of opportunities that a lot of these guys in third world countries don't have. And when, if this thing is happening globally and you look at Bitcoin, you know what? They won't care, CryptoFace, if it's $5. They won't care if it's their property. They can send it. You don't even need the internet. I've seen people send Bitcoin with CB radios and stuff. It's crazy what they do.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think crypto will definitely outperform everything long term. Absolutely.
100%. I think crypto is the safer bet, right? Obviously, you don't want to ride things all the way down, but the majority of people are not traders and they can't time the markets. They don't know when to identify the best time to get in. So that's why we're also believers of dollar cost averaging, right? You would try to dollar cost average as close as possible to the bottom. It would be preferable, but in reality, you're never going to get that close to the bottom. Probably going to catch it somewhere and the bounce back up. And it's just a psychological thing. People don't like buying on the way down. They like buying on green days.
It's the time horizon. How long? Yes. I mean, are you trying to make a quick buck? Then no, don't do crypto. Get out of it. Go work a job. Maybe, I don't know, do some marketing or something. Do something else. But if you have that time horizon, for everyone, even if you had bought at every single top of the market, at the absolute top, if you waited 3.5 years, even if you bought the top and never bought again and said, screw it, I'm not buying any more dips, 3.5 years, 3%, 300% minimum return. And that's buying at the top of every single cycle. Guys, we're down 50% right now. If you were a betting man right now, knowing the odds, not financial advice.
We only got 30% more to go. So technically, most of the pain's already over.
So we'll all short it together, bro. We'll short it and get more Bitcoin. I'm gonna follow.
Just load up the bags, dude.
Download Market Cipher. We're shorting the.
Let me finish the stream off with asking you guys a really simple question. This is always a fun one because I love to hear it, especially after a great debate. First of all, guys, this has been freaking fantastic. It's fun to do the back and forth. It's fun to have the respect for each other and have differing opinions. I think it's part of the reason why Miguel and I started this channel in the first place. We said, you know what? Crypto can be too much of an echo chamber sometimes. And what we're trying to bring is bring the love together, but hey, you know what? I don't have to think just like you. It's just like in the rest of the world right now. Like, we're not doing cancel culture over here to debate crypto. Okay. Right. We're here to say, hey, what do you have to say? Let's talk about it. Let's get through it. We don't have to throw blows. We don't have to cancel each other out. We can have fun. We can have educated conversations and do that. So with that being said, let me ask this. I think I've asked this before with Face on the channel, but I want to ask you, Zombie, first, and then Face, let me know what your thoughts are. Give me a high and a low for the rest of the year.
For the rest of this year?
Yep. And again, guys, none of us are financial advisors.
See, if you had asked me for the cycle, I've gone over on my channel. I do believe we're hitting around $180,000 for the cycle high, 180 to 200. And I could show you based on Fibonacci's. This year, if everything stays exactly how it is and nothing changes and nothing crazy black swan happens,
okay,
I think Bitcoin has a potential, honestly, to get back to around maybe 55K. Honestly, okay. That's like very realistic. If
so
nothing
you're
changes,
thinking then
that
we're going to range a lot. If you think that's because you said 100K before 20K, meaning, and you're thinking 55K by the end of this year, you're thinking we're going to be doing a lot of ranging.
Well, if we go to 100K, we're not. I don't think we're coming back down to 20K. So there's no before. If we go to 20, we're going to go to 100. If we go to 100, we're not going to 20. You know,
face.
He's Keeper's trying to box Zombie. And by the way, first off, I want to say that Zombie is one of the few men that I can say I love and I trust in this space, and he really helped me in Market Cypher years ago. And so when I said he was an asshole because he couldn't hear me, it was only because he's my friend.
No, I'm just an asshole because I don't answer my messages.
But no, I mean, that's a tough fucking question. You know, I'll say, you know, how low could it go? You know, 20 or 10K.
Okay.
But you know, I don't know. I don't feel like I know. I'm not as confident on the next 2 years of price action that I was in the previous 2 years ago. Because I feel like there's just a lot more up in the air and a lot more outside swans, white, black, brown, that could be involved. I do believe that we are seeing black skies, and that things could get very ugly very fast.
Yeah.
But crypto, you know, with just the fact, not even talking about this whole smart contract thing, and it's certain that smart contracts are terrific in certain applications, but simply the ability to send money anytime, anywhere, any amount in a very short amount of time without people breathing up your ass is such a important, invaluable thing.
Yeah.
It's when you're in crypto and, you know, you pay your friends and employees in crypto, and then you go back to the normal world and try to send money, you really realize it. And so thanks for having me on.
It's
nothing but love, man, and for all of you.
Yeah, bro. It's a pleasure having both of you guys on. I mean, I've been watching Zombies content since 2018. So, dude, I love having you guys on, and you know, you guys are always welcome back on the channel anytime.
Yeah, guys, we really appreciate you guys coming on. I want to just throw a quick shout out real quick. Argenis Martinez, thank you for the super chat. I probably just butchered your name. Might have got the G wrong, a little soft, a little too heavy there. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate all the support, guys. For each and everybody in the chat, each and every one of you in the chat, just real quick reminder, make sure you follow these gentlemen, all the gentlemen on the stream. Information's down below the video. Make sure that you do that. Jump into our Discord. Check out Danger Close Alpha. Follow us on Twitter. We've got a couple different channels on Twitter as well. A couple different profiles on Twitter. We'd appreciate all the support there. If nobody's told you before today, we love you. So just remember to question everything.
Trust nothing.
And until next time, hodl
like a top.
We'll see you soon.